make sure I don't miss anything
You got
part
it.
of this impacting the doctors and whatnot. So, Paul and Brian, I met with Roxy this morning, so I've got to have an offline conversation with both of you for what we've got for May and June, July, and August. So just kind of get that back in your mind as well.
Great.
Okay. Awesome.
So I'm just part of the team here. I kind of take direction on what Paul, Brian, Steve, and of course Nimbus kind of go with. So part of what we're doing currently right now is to streamline the digital part of helping our chiropractors, our health professionals, non-traditional MDs. So if you're a massage therapist / yoga instructor, anyone that's in the health and wellness circle, doesn't necessarily have to be certified or have any type of licensing. The goal is to organize the MLM component of it, our affiliates, with digital support, Touchpoints, Facebook, LinkedIn. And right now on the table, we have Facebook and LinkedIn with an automated content as well as posting as a service that can be purchased as a monthly fee. And the goal is to streamline, obviously, the content so that it matches what Nimbus is in the corporate space is saying, but also to what the target is. So, for example, if a chiropractor has our digital product and service for LinkedIn and for Facebook, we automate the system by creating the content, posting it for them, and then having that component be consistent. Now they can take it to the next level if they want to create engagement, if they want to create some sort of lead generation from it. Obviously that's the goal, but we know, especially in the digital space, that's a two-way, and a lot of times just getting them to post regularly would help them actually get leads. Taking it to the next level, you know, that's an additional cost and fee, and a lot of times these professionals, especially people who have offices and they have their spouse, they can manage something like that on their own. So the initial start off is just to get them going with content that's consistent and that's current. Obviously the algorithm with Facebook, you know, is constantly being changed, so you have to manipulate it a little differently, whether it's content that's organic or shared or video focused. So right now in the digital package, the goal is just to take step one with them, which is onboard them, get their content consistent, help them get excited, help them get the community excited, and then do the second piece, which is help their patients be able to share the message as well. So some of the website as well as social media will engage that second piece so that we can, of course, recruit additional affiliates if that's the direction that their patient wants to go through, or just create referrals for the chiro. And part of that strategy is to then create geotagging, geofencing, email marketing, anything that can systematize it with a text platform like Touchpoints Pro, so that the digital is more controlled and more concise versus saying these are suggested, go ahead and try and do it. We end up having to deal with the fixing the problem versus being proactive. I think that's a quick kind of overview of where the digital package looks and is going for this specific vertical. Obviously the other verticals that we want to consider, we want to have this for those affiliates of Nimbus who are not necessarily health professionals or in the health and wellness space, but just truly straight affiliates who have their personal Facebook, who want to sell the product and who want to leverage their network without having to be in that health and wellness vertical. So health and wellness vertical, everyone else, and then strategically, you know, assisted living centers, anyone that's in that space of influence that can create the next sale.
Awesome.
Did you get all that?
Yep, I've just documented it. Just taking some notes here so I can make sure I'm understanding. So let me just make sure. So the digital support is an organic strategy offered to the health professionals, health and wellness professionals, specifically to create some engagement on social media.
Yes, to some extent, but also helping and doing that.
Say that one more time. You cut out on me, if you don't mind.
It's yes. No. Part of it is to share basics, but we know that anything with digital, especially with Facebook, Instagram, any social platforms, that the algorithm is changing, that the person who's just usually a consumer end of it doesn't understand all of those pieces. So there's some additional training, some interfaces, some webinars to create that support so they're more anchored and that they can do it for themselves on top of what the digital package is doing.
Okay.
Because we don't, unless we hire 10 VAs, you know, and 10 VAs is assigned to 50 people to be engagement, I don't think that's realistic for how we want to scale.
Right. No, that's great. So you have an automated training course that helps facilitate the education around LinkedIn, Facebook, posting content. You're helping with the creation of that content so that across the board, the branding, the messaging is similar, right? So they can leverage this content to post on certain pages, Facebook, LinkedIn components, and then the other components you have, you said, was the assisted living centers as well as the affiliates, which would be those that are in the network marketing space that are also trying to push the Nimbus network. Is that correct?
Right. But we want to have two types of packages: training. So it's for the Utah do-it-yourselfers. And then we have the done for you, people who are more efficient and effective that want to scale their businesses, who want to focus on building relationships. And that's going to be part of, you know, that training, like what makes you best for Nimbus. And we just make it so generic that anyone who's in Kansas City can do it versus our person in Washington. Like nobody, it doesn't really need to be target market specific in regards to who they're talking to. It's just, these are the basic principles of business. We can do it for you, or you can do it yourself. And here's some tips. Here's some rules and regulations, because, you know, obviously right now, Nimbus Corporate doesn't have a lot of those rules in place, but we want to create some sort of guideline to encourage, you know, no healing words, guaranteed, it fixed my problem. I mean, we have to always talk it from a testimonial third party, and that's going to be part of controlling the reviews, the language, and kind of the onboard process is to train really that affiliate, whether they're a health professional vertical or assisted living vertical or just generic, just a standalone good old affiliate without any specific, you know, vertical that they're attached.
Great. Well, I commend you. It's a big task to take on. It's fantastic that you're doing it. It's pretty awesome. So Paul, Brian, how help us understand how, you know, you mentioned that we should chat a little bit more. And I apologize, I wasn't able to be down in Utah last week. I got sick. So share with me your vision of how we can collaboratively work together. In terms of what Shar's doing, and in terms of kind of what our scope of work might look like, or, you know, what does that overall look like to you guys? Brian, I think you're muted. I'll mute you now. Go ahead.
Hello.
You're here. I can hear you now. Sorry.
Okay. What I was just going to say is we've got corporate's blessing because we're at the very top, the very beginning. We have a chance to capture not just our own vertical with health professionals, but all of the affiliates.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't know exactly what that's going to look like, whether that's going to be a tool section, an affiliate marketing package on the Nimbus website. We don't know yet, but obviously with our own organization, we're going to be pushing this like crazy to everybody.
Right.
And we're going to have, you know, we're going to have the old school marketing packages with, you know, banners and brochures and water mugs, and then more specifically the digital. So Shar, she's got this in place, and, you know, there's a fixed cost, what it costs us. Anything above and beyond that on a month-to-month basis is profit. It's pretty affordable. Facebook, Charlene, what is it, $99 a month? Yeah, I think it's $99 our hard costs for Facebook. LinkedIn, it's another $100. Touchpoints, it's whatever we want it to be. Obviously, we're going to mark it up on Facebook and LinkedIn.
Sure.
So that, you know, there's a revenue center. But like Shar said, I don't think that includes, I'm pretty sure it doesn't include ad spend.
Okay.
So anyway, whenever we talk about bringing something, you know, a marketing on a month-to-month subscription, I mean, there's money to be made up front.
Sure.
But you and I, we all know on this call that it's that month-to-month reoccurring.
Yeah.
That's where the money's at.
That's right. So and I think Shar was just mentioning, and I'm hoping that I understood this appropriately, and you're welcome to correct me if I didn't, but it seems like the approach that was identified so far was more or less an organic play, like you said, with not a lot of advertising dollars on the back end to help promote certain things. And I think where our conversation went last time was, well, what if we added a advertising component to that to help create more awareness around the Nimbus product for the chiropractors while doing a little bit of lead gen for the chiropractors and getting new patients in the office, because you have that network already.
Yeah, absolutely. Shar may be meeting with Dale right now, but that's the component I don't know too much about. That was kind of the purpose of this call.
Sorry, I'm just waiting for Dale to come back. So I'm still listening.
Shar, what are your, on the ad spend, what Ryan just talked about, is that already part of the system? Obviously, it's going to cost more.
Sure.
Shar?
See if I can unmute her. I don't know if she's...
Shar, are you there?
She's still on with us, but she might have jumped into that meeting.
Well, what do the costs look like on your end, Ryan?
Well, it's a good question, and I think it really depends on whether you're going more from an affiliate perspective, if you're going from a corporate perspective, right? Because when we start doing lead generation packages, looks like we lost Shar, but when we start doing like lead generation tactics and strategies, let me take one step back. The number one thing that I think the complexity you might run into in terms of these health practitioners, especially on a monthly maintenance fee in terms of your $99 per month for Facebook, $99 per month for LinkedIn to post content, is the question that's going to arise in their mind, and we see this all the time with the clients we work with. The question is going to come up with, well, what's my return on investment based on these $200 that I'm spending? And when you're playing in the organic space, the complexity behind that is there's not a whole lot of measurable return on investment if you're not tracking things appropriately.
Sure.
So where it becomes impactful to a doctor, for instance, who has a chiropractic office, is when you start saying, well, we can generate leads for you, and then we use the Touchpoints network system on the back end for that nurturing, the retention component. We leverage ad product around the Nimbus product itself to drive sales for the organization as a whole. Now you have a couple things that you can directly correlate to dollars being spent from a return on investment perspective. And I think the way you look at it is you say, okay, we have packages all over the board in terms of ranging from $750 a month all the way up to $2,500 a month. But there has to be, once you start to invest that kind of money, there has to be a return on investment for the ad dollars that are being spent.
Absolutely.
So if for instance you spent $1,500, $750 in our services, $750 in ad spend, and you generate 10 new patients at $1,000 per patient, then there's a measurable return on investment. So to add that monthly maintenance fee plus add the revenue generated from the Nimbus program on top of that, now they're seeing a significant return on investment, while you guys on the back end are also receiving a component of revenue being generated, and we can rev share in the actual ad product. I don't care, right? The advertising component, because of the relationship. So now you have ad dollars or relationship, revenue being generated because of the ad dollars we're spending, ad dollars plus our service fees. You've got revenue generated based on the Nimbus network. You also have revenue being generated from Touchpoints, and all of the above. It creates an additional revenue stream for your organization as a whole, while giving the doctors a direct return on investment, which basically offsets the cost of all the money they put into the overall program. keeping
Got
them more engaged long term versus seeing it as a sunk cost, right?
Well, and I know what you're saying. There's a difference between a regular Joe Blow affiliate versus a chiropractor,
Right.
in terms of cost. And so I get that.
And the tricky thing you're going to run into, Brian, is when you start to play with the affiliates in terms of ad product, Facebook just does not like giving any sort of value proposition to people in that affiliate or network marketing world in terms of pushing products to potential target demo. So we actually have, I mean, I've been in the network marketing world for 10 years. I've consulted the top consultants in terms of how to run social media advertising. And the reality is simply this, like with the newest change in regulation, plus they just came out, Facebook just came out this last week and talked about even more elements of personal security. Any sort of ad product associated with an affiliate trying to run ads in the social media ecosphere, it's going to get beat up quite significantly, and there's not a whole lot of value associated with that. Now, like Shar was talking a little bit earlier, teaching them how to leverage organic tactics and strategies to do that is probably the only way an affiliate network would be able to leverage Facebook, Instagram effectively to generate revenue from their efforts and energy put into it, right? Literally, we were working with another network marketer, and we said, listen, the only thing you can do is build brand. The only thing you can do on social media is build brand. And he started tweaking things on our ad product, and immediately his ad product was shut down and his ads account was shut down completely. Yeah. There's no tolerance whatsoever for that affiliate component to generate revenue based on the affiliate component of that. So, that's where the doctor's offices can get away with that in running that ad product because it's coming from an actual practitioner versus the affiliate component. So I see two approaches, right? Just like you guys have done. You have your done for you system and your do it yourself type system. The do it yourself type system with training and education would be more closely aligned to the affiliate components and to some of those practitioners that want to try to take it on themselves, whose wives may have tried maybe doing the marketing component. But then you also have that component of those practitioner offices that not only want to sell that, but increase revenue for their practice as a whole by bringing in and doing lead generation. That's a practice that can be done inside of the social media ecosphere and digital media ecosphere.
Well, and as far as the affiliates are concerned, the default really is Touchpoints.
Correct.
Because yes, you can incorporate Touchpoints into your personal Facebook page, but when we can download every contact from your cell phone and upload them into Touchpoints and just start communicating with your warm market. I mean,
that's it. You're right.
That's yes, I got it, son. So the ad spend, I think is going to be more profitable and make more sense on the chiropractor.
Yeah, I agree. Well, you're exactly right. I mean, having that touch points component for those affiliates is going to be the most impactful element because not only are you communicating on an individual basis, but now all of that documentation is being tracked. So from a CRM perspective, you know what's happening and who you've communicated with and who you need to reach out to next.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Well, my kind of phase 2 of this meeting, you kind of answered it. And that was, what kind of luck have you seen? So an organization like ours, we've got a healthy nimbushealthprofessionals.com website.
Mm-hmm.
I believe we already have a Facebook page. If we wanted to go out and start, whether this is a JV, whether this is however we structure it, how would we go about creating Nimbus leads? You've got your website. You basically have
education about what the actual product is built into your website, and you're leveraging that landing page more or less as a lead generation tool. Is that correct?
Right.
The ideal would be. So then from an ad product perspective, you just need a way to drive traffic to that website and then convert that traffic, correct?
That's right.
So that's where we can come in from an ad product perspective and leverage ad dollars to drive more people into that. And I don't know, have you guys created an API yet that connects like from a Facebook lead ad that goes directly into Touchpoints?
Yeah. So we've got the forms page link, which is acting as an API. It's a customized forms lead capture page, either as a link that can be text, emailed, posted, or we've got the code snippet that you can integrate with a button.
Great. Okay.
So I think it piggybacks off, press here for your free trial or for more information, and it captures that same information. Puts it directly into Touchpoints, puts them in the groups, adds them to the campaigns. They can get a 5-15-minute text right after they hit the submit form.
Perfect.
Button.
No, that's fantastic. So basically the back-end opt-in is already created through your contact form on that landing page so that follow-up communication happens instantaneously once they've opted in.
Right.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Basically turns into a live transfer. So
right. So that all we need to do then, excuse me. All we need to do then is just drive more leads onto that page and then convert those leads.
Yeah. Here's my only, I have spent a lot of money over the past
generation
3 years, right? Facebook, Google Ads, YouTube, and maybe it was the individuals that we were using. I know we can track. That's huge, because if it's not working, then you tweak it. If it is working, you scale it and put more money into it. But I personally just have not seen like the tangible results, to really be consistent and bring in the revenue.
Bring in any sort of a significant return on investment.
Yeah. And that's, I'm personally willing to put money up front, but it has not worked out so well. So, that's a concern that I have, or any business owner would have.
Yeah, for sure.
So what can you do to make me feel better? I mean, I know that you can set your limits on a daily basis, $5, $10, $20 a day, and just see, clicks but ultimately, we've got to convert. And I know there's some, I know a lead gen is only as good, the leads that they bring in. It is up to us on one hand to convert them, whatever that process is.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's through a webinar or then, live transfer, a trial. I know there's a science to it. I believe in it. I just haven't actually seen
some tangible result of the effort. Yeah. So the one thing you have to understand, and I'm sure you do, Brian, you've gone down this road before. The number one thing, which is probably the scariest thing for most business owners, but is the sheer fact that social media advertising is not a short game. But most people try to, if they don't get instantaneous results, they think that it's not going to work.
Sure.
And what I mean by, and to couple that as well, and just to bring some transparency to light, like the reality is that anyone can be a Facebook ad expert, right? So any Tom, Dick, or Harry can say, hey, you know what? I know how to run Facebook ads. I start an agency, which there's no barrier of entry, and I'm the guy for you to run ads, right? So you pay me $2,500 a month retainer plus $5,000 a month in advertising, and you do that, and over a month you're like, well, I didn't see any significant results, and they're like, well, they'll come, I promise.
Yeah.
And then when all is said and done, you look after 2 months, you're like, you haven't even given me one lead yet. So like, how can I continue to justify the dollars that are being spent? So I understand where you're coming from in terms of that. I think really what we would need to do prior to engaging is look at what you've done in the past, look at some of the ad product, identify really what the end game is, and then, propose to you a formula of how we do it and how we've generated significant revenue for our clients based on a return on ad spend.
Right.
Because it's different. I mean, the problem is, Brian, most people try to run the number one game of digital marketing for the past 15 years, except for the last 2 years, has always been, how can I convert cold traffic? And the reality is, in today's market, you just can't do it at a low enough cost to yield a good return on investment. So there's a process of building brand awareness, building trust with that organization of people you've built that brand awareness around. And now that you have their trust, now you have to give them something of social proof to help them see that other people have gone down that road and they're not the first, to finally get to that acquisition. Well, most people, from an education-based trust building perspective and from a social proof perspective in the digital marketing world, especially organizations in Utah, they try to bypass that component of it. And as a result, they can't yield significant results for the ad dollars that are being spent. And that whole process is literally just mimicking what consumers or what they're looking for from a buying perspective, what they need in order to make a buying decision, and what that buying process looks like. They're trying to bait and switch into the system, when in reality, you have to do certain things throughout that process that create success in order to get to qualified leads. And the sheer fact that Facebook says, in order for us to start to optimize and give you the best quality return on investment, we need to see that A, you're going to be spending money and doing organic work, and B, we have to see at least 50 to 100 conversions before we start to optimize those ad dollars, because we want to know that you're willing to invest enough to stick around in the ad game. So if you have organizations that have run ads that have only qualified 10 or 15 leads, you haven't ever been able to optimize those leads effectively to generate a significant return on investment.
And how does Facebook even know if they've converted?
You identify what the conversion metrics are, right? So if it's a land, you can optimize that however you want. So a conversion in the beginning might simply be, we want to make sure that people are hitting the landing page and going to the thank you page once they submitted their name, and that would be considered a lead. Or sometimes you might optimize in the beginning using different tactics to say, my only conversion is I want to make sure people are landing on that first web page. Now, that might not look like a conversion in terms of return on investment on the back end, but then you take that ad product that's yielded that type of a conversion, and then you run additional remarketing, retargeting ad campaigns at them to get to the actual conversion. So you're optimizing for different types of things, where depending on where those customers are in that customer journey.
Yeah, what you just talked about is definitely above my pay scale, but
But you understand the process, right? The reality is, when people buy something, they need, look at what Amazon has done over the last 10 years, which has totally put them head and shoulders above everyone else.
Yep,
they have brand recognition with the company. They give you what you need from an education perspective to read the description and specifications about the product. And they also give you all the reviews that you need to read and review before you purchase something. Then the barrier of entry of purchasing diminishes significantly. Like, the reason why people shop on Amazon as in opposition to many different websites out there is because Amazon gives them all those subconscious buying validation points that they need to feel like they're validated in making a purchase. And whether that's a $50 purchase, a $10 purchase, or a $5,000 purchase, the process of buying a product and service is the same. It's just the understanding what the consumer actually needs before they make the buying decision is really the key to running high qualified ad traffic and getting qualified leads and generating revenue as a result of that.
So did you run some ads for Tyler with Touchpoints?
I would say no. I mean, we engaged with him for about 2 weeks, and he's like, I'm too busy. I don't want to give you information. I'm not willing to spend time on this. I've got other fish to fry, so let's just turn it off.
I think that was right around the same time we were doing our own Facebook page that we have, and I had a guy doing that internally, and we did it for about a year.
Mm-hmm.
Mixed results. We had a few conversations, but I don't think we even closed a single deal.
Nothing significant, yeah.
But I mean, the cool thing is we've got the testimonials, we've got the metrics, we've got ROIs, we've got quite a bit at our disposal to back up our claims. And right now it's just, it's a success stories link on YouTube, right? With about maybe 6 or 7 businesses that have done really well.
Right.
So I think it may be worthwhile to re-engage and see, and even piggyback and do the same thing with Nimbus.
Yeah.
I mean, Touchpoints is it's gotten us into all of these other opportunities like Nimbus.
Right.
But it's still our core business, and it's paying the bills. So what
well, that's where you identify that, that core. You now have a list of people, and you've had to have a list of people that would be your ideal target demographic. You leverage that as a lookalike audience and run ad component against it to see what type of return on investment you can get. Here's the deal. I mean, Nimbus is one component, like you're saying, but if you're landing contracts, minimum contract value is what, about $1,000 for corporate?
For Touchpoints?
Yeah.
Probably double that.
So about $2K. I mean, if you're generating and closing leads at $100 to $200 per lead, and you're signing 2K contracts, now you've got a 10 times return on investment, right?
Yep.
And then it's like, well, then let's just scale that. I mean, not that you can't do that with Nimbus and what that process is bringing as well, but you do that. You run that at chiropractic offices, and now your conversation inside of that chiropractic office is, oh, by the way, we've got this other really cool product that you got to sell from your location as well.
Right. So this brings up the next question. You said you've had 10 years in the MLM industry, Melaleuca. Is that right?
Yeah. Yep.
So, I mean, that's significant. You're still in it.
Yeah, I made great money with it.
Still making money?
Oh yeah.
Is that something that you're growing right now, or just letting it happen?
I allocate maybe 10 to 20% of my time towards that.
Okay. And are you using your own tools, lead gen or marketing to do that?
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to my conversation earlier in terms of the affiliates, right? I know the space well enough, and I know what Facebook allows and what they don't allow. And as a result, a vast majority of my building, it's done through social media platforms, but it's not in a paid strategy because they'll shut everything down,
Right. So let me just take a step back and just share with you, like we sign up Touchpoints accounts mostly through referrals. Right now, whether it's insurance agencies or supplement shops or what have you. But over the last probably a year and a half, we've taken a different strategy, and we've looked at different businesses that want to use our software, and rather than just going in and say, hey, great, this is the setup fee, this is the monthly plus usage, we're actually taking a look at what they're offering. That's exactly what happened with Nimbus.
Yeah.
And we go, okay, you got something nobody else has, 7 years in the making, 15 patents. I swore I'd never do an MLM again, but here I am.
Right.
And so what I feel we're hitting two birds with one stone. Obviously, we're going to be able to market and sell touch points to anyone who joins Nimbus, which is great.
Right.
We've always been at the top, through a master distributor or, vice president in Zija, for example. But we've never been, shoulder to shoulder with the owner,
right,
with the president, and the master distributor all at once. And we just happen to be the fastest growing. I mean, we are the U.S. right now. So the strategy has been, all right, and it's happened two or three other businesses where I'm like, okay, rather than just doing business as usual, let's joint venture. Let's do a rev share.
Right.
And it's worked out really well. We've had to hand pick them. We're not doing it to just anybody.
Right.
But if they've got something, I'm like, this is a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And so my question to you is, at what point would you want to make a similar decision with Touchpoints and with Nimbus? Is there any interest in maybe deviating a little bit from your standard practices of charging this or that, and like, hey, hop on, we're going. You're an expert in your field. We're obviously experts on the mobile marketing.
Mm-hmm.
We've already got a great mobile product. With Nimbus, I'm just bringing up this conversation because it's the same. It's what's happened with us as of late.
Yeah.
That frankly we're still able to do our thing with touch points and business as usual, but I've got one with IML in Markets Live.
Mm-hmm.
I've got same thing with Nimbus. We've got a payday loan company that is just pretty cool. Rather than charging them $200 a month, our standard fee, well, now Paul and I, we own 66% of the company.
Right.
So,
right.
And we've just scratched the surface. So that's kind of my thought with you. If I don't know, we might want to brainstorm some alliances here.
Yeah, I mean, and Brian, I'll always tell you that I'm always open to having conversations and, finding what works and what doesn't work depending on those conversations, right? I mean, I definitely have a good thing going, and I don't want to jeopardize that because it's a significant income currently. So, but I'm always happy to have that conversation and figure out what most aligns the directive long-term, and how do we, what does that look like and how does that work? I mean, I've done a lot of consulting in the network marketing world as well with a lot of organizations on, the how-tos of digital media, social media, and so on and so forth. So, yeah, I mean, right. I'm totally open to it. I'm happy to have those conversations for sure. I think really, so I think the next steps we need to discuss here, and Shar's back with us as well. I think the number one thing we just need to look at is how can we best help you guys in terms of the health and wellness space, in terms of Nimbus really getting that into more doctors plus affiliates hands, right? And then B, that the conversation we had, just kind of sidebar conversation of touch points. What does that look like to do lead generation there? And what's the overall goal we're trying to accomplish with all parties involved? And how can we best generate a significant return on investment based on dollars that are being spent? That's where my mind.
Yeah. Well, and I'll just tell you straight up, going this route, and I totally get, you got to put your focus where the money is, where your revenue stream is. But this is as clear as day. And I felt it the first time I sat down with the owners of Nimbus. I'm turning one account into 10,000.
That's great.
I'm creating, maybe our first goal is 100, then 1,000, and then 10,000. And even just on a touch points level, 1,000, let's just take it all the way down to $100 or $50. That's $500 to $1 million a month just on touch points. And so it's to me, it's definitely worth deviating a little bit. And if that's something you want to be a part of on that end, ultimately you're a business owner. You're going to make your own decision. You're going to see the writing on the wall. It's a numbers game. So I think we're on the same page. So I think next step, I think I'm going to get out the phone. We're going to, Shar and I and Paul will have a little chat. And then let's regroup, kind of look at, why don't we put together some ideas and you do the same on your end?
Okay.
And then let's get back together and get something going.
You got it, buddy. I will. So we'll compile some stuff. Coulter and I will connect and chat a little bit more. And then what's your best email, Brian?
Brian with an I at touchpointspro.com.
Okay. I will. I'll shoot you over some. Coulter and I will connect. We'll chat, and then we'll send some information over to you. And can I get something to you by Friday? Is that okay?
Yeah, it'd be great.
Okay.
All right. Hey,
Fantastic.
Great talking.
Appreciate it.
Anybody else there?
Yeah. Thanks, guys. I just listened.
Yeah, sure. I recorded this as well, so I'll make sure to upload it and send you a link in case you want to follow up and review anything that was said. So
Perfect. If you can email that to Paul and to Brian, then they can forward it to me. That would be awesome.
You got it.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, guys.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah.
Bye, Colt.